an interesting little trail there that I think some followed him because of the multitude. If you think about it, where there's a crowd does what? Attracts a crowd. Right. You start, you just go downtown and start looking up, and what'll happen? Everybody else starts looking up, and because everybody's looking up, everybody else starts looking up. And nobody's seeing anything. But there was a crowd coming, and so the crowd brought a crowd, and that brought a bigger crowd. And so Christ's thing was ultimately his message. But they were coming for the crowd. Then later he said this. He said, after he fed them, the 5,000, then there was a big crowd. He said, some of you are following him for the meat. And then later, he said, it's not only the multitude, it's not only the meat. What is it? It was the miracles. You're following me because of all the things I'm doing. And you want to see a miracle. I think that's why Herod wanted him to come to Tiberias. He wanted to see some miracles. He wanted to see some magic of some sort. And he said, you're falling for the miracles. None of those is what he was after. That's when, if you remember, he asked Peter why they were following. And that's when Peter replied in John 6, you know, you have the words of eternal life. It was the message. And so that's what was attracting at least the 12, and not even one of those. Even one of those was not coming for the message. His whole idea was the money. He was following because he was treasurer of the group, and if Jesus comes into power as the king, then he'll probably be the Secretary of the Treasury for the state of Israel. And so they had all of these ulterior motives, but what he wanted was, follow me because I am your master, because you love me. And that's what God still wants today. There are people in our churches, I'm afraid, because they like the entertainment, they like the way things are done. That's why I've always been not been a proponent of having a lot of entertainment in my church, because I want them to come for the message and the master himself. What it takes to get them, it takes to what? Keep them. And so you get caught up in that bigger and better, bigger and better. You got to do something great to get a crowd. Then they're not going to come back unless you do something bigger the next time.
Just like the parties people do, like bar mitzvahs, weddings, or whatever. Mm-hmm. Every time, and 16th birthday. Somebody here made a 16th birthday, almost like a wedding. It's just every time. It's like the children starting to compete each other, who's going to do bigger.
Exactly.
Come over this way. You're going to go
and that can happen in our churches too. But the main thing has to be the message and the master. That's the main thing, that we love him.
He's got it.
Okay. That we love him with all our heart. That's why we follow. Because of an attraction to him. My dad used to put it the difference between an attraction and an attachment. Some can be attracted, but others are attached. And what you want is the attachment. And so, not just an attraction. And there's a big difference between those two things. So, what we're wanting to see here is that you become attached to the Lord and not just attracted because of all the exciting things around that might be going on. It's got to be a deeper thing, because when struggles come, when life gets hard, the attraction is not there, and you're off. And that happened to Judas, and it happened to so many of the disciples. And by disciples, I mean the larger crowd, the huge crowd. Where were the multitudes in Jerusalem when he's crucified? What even
Maybe they were
happened
there
to
for
most
the
of his
wrong reason.
disciples? What did Peter do?
His closest friends weren't there.
Yeah,
Not even the disciples.
that's right. So we have to look into our heart and say, why am I following? And what's really in my heart? Well, this is a good place to see the footsteps of the Lord, right here. How many times he walked right through here, right up there, many times, right down through this valley of the winds, and out over here to Magdala, and up around the north shore to Tabca and Capernaum, all of that, Bethsaida, all of this, crossed this sea, calmed this sea, walked on the water on that sea. Isn't that amazing? You can take all that in right here.
I don't either. That's me too. It's like I don't mind it myself, but I don't want to tell you what you're doing. I need to tell you what they're doing.
And this is looking straight down.
Is it straight down?
There's the Sea of Galilee.
Yeah. Get us from the waist up.
No, you can get us from the shoes up.
I'll do a couple here. You ready?
Oh, yeah.